Hi, my name is Ifrit, and if my phone falls one more time and hits another Madoka Magica figure, I'll be legally obligated to kill myself. Now, today we'll be discussing the ethics of cannibalism, and you might be saying, cannibalism? Ethics? Those don't go hand in hand. Cannibalism is bad, but you are wrong, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because I'm not one of those fake cannibalism fans. I'm not one of those motherfuckers who's like, oh yeah, I'd eat human flesh if I got the chance. No. I yearn for it. I want it. And I want it to be legal. I want it to become like a common practice. And I'll explain to you exactly why. First off, let's talk about types of burials and their effects on the environment. Cremation. Burial. And sky burial. There's issues with all of these. Cremation hurts the ozone layer. Womp womp. Burial takes up space that we could be using for farming and replenishing renewable resources, and it takes up so much space, and we have to do so much to harvest the wood and the stone and everything that we use for the grave sites. Womp womp. Bad. Sky burial. Don't piss me off. Homura from Madoka Magica has got our backs. Sky burial, your body just gets left out, but that introduces diseases to the local wildlife. Because, diseases that usually aren't communicable, they could develop while you're dead and fuck up the ground and wildlife. So sky burial, womp womp. There's one solution to this. And that solution is cannibalism. Let me grab a napkin so I can wipe this board. Some might say I'm ill-prepared. I would say that I am 17 and it's 10:30 a.m. So fuck you. But the free TV my friend got me keeps glitching out and turning on randomly. So sorry about that. Now the thing is, cannibalism. That's not how you spell cannibalism. I'm not good at writing. Well, I am. I'm literally a writer. Okay, whatever. There's pros and cons. Okay? Cannibalism. I'm not bothering reversing my writing for this. That sounds like such a pain in the ass. Okay. So I'll just do plus, minus. Okay. Pros and cons. Now, for the pros, we'll get to those later. Don't know why I worded it like that, but we're sticking with it. For the cons, these are what people usually associate with it. Hold on. Yeah, I am gonna try to write. Okay, maybe. No. No, you guys aren't that important to me, sorry. So the cons, diseases. The idea of farming humans for their meat. Of course, there's the psychological aspects. And, the social aspects. Also, human meat scary. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Alright? I almost cut off my pinky. And if it had fallen off, I would have eaten it. I would have eaten it in that hospital. Don't play with me. So I can only really think of 4 cons. Because scary kind of just falls under psychology and social stigma. So 4 cons. It causes diseases. There's issues with the idea of farming human beings for meat. There's the psychological aspects of implicit psychological trauma that knowingly consuming human meat deals to people. This has been studied extensively. And there's the social aspects, and that's where it gets interesting. before we unpack the pros, I want to debunk the cons. Debunking the cons, I'll go down the list. Disease, we could spend time developing culinary research in which we eliminate the risk of disease. I'm not saying, hey, every single person that dies, we should eat them. I'm not saying, hey, let's start killing people for their meat. No. I'm saying if somebody dies of a natural, consequences, I forgot the word, god damn it, but if somebody dies from, natural effects and they just aren't diseased or anything, we should eat them. And since we're not at that point yet, we should start donating them to culinary, developments and, scientific developments to where we can figure out what part of the human body induces these diseases and how we can combat that. Farming humans. I don't think we should be farming anything to eat. That's, my big thing. I'm not vegan or anything. I'm too poor for that. But I firmly believe that the meat industry as a whole and a lot of the farming industries, they are not ethical. I support local farmers. I have a lot of family members who raise their own animals and stuff. I support that. But large-scale farming practices with both meat and plants, they do have a lot of issues with pesticides and introducing new chemicals and stuff. And with the animals, it has to do with the ethics of raising something just to kill it and the quality of the meat. I think if you're going to eat meat, it should be in an ethical way. I think communities should strive to hunt what they need instead of just mass farming these animals at a lower quality, mass quantity rate to, give themselves what they need. And then we end up with a surplus, then people throw out stuff en masse, and it just creates a lot of waste, and it dwindles populations, and it's just a sordid affair. So that's 2 off the list. Psychology. Again, that's kind of heavily tied in with social stigma, and to bring those up, I'm going to talk about how in Papua New Guinea, and just the New Guineas in general, they have a lot of indigenous tribes in that region that have a prehistoric cultural ritual of cannibalizing each other in their death. They don't get the psychological aspects and social stigma that affects the rest of us. So if they can do it, why can't we? The only thing that holds them back is that in the records of their cannibalisms, we found that a lot of them would get diseases, because if one person had a disease and this was a huge thing with their brains specifically, because a lot of it, they wouldn't really eat the whole body in a lot of these rituals, but when a loved one dies, the family would partake in eating their brain to try to spread their memory and spread their thing. I don't know, I haven't researched it in a while, I have vague memory, but I know for a fact that they would eat the brain as an honor to the dead person. And a lot of the diseases that would get them, they were communicable diseases, but not really. They weren't diseases where being around the person would give them to you. But obviously, if the disease is in the brain and you're eating the brain, the disease is in you now. It would kill a lot of them, because the disease is usually what killed the first person. So it was kind of like a chain of events. But, then we have Michael D. Rockefeller. He was probably cannibalized. I fuck with that heavy. Not Michael. Was it Michael? I think it was Michael D. Rockefeller. Not D. Michael Rockefeller. The son of the Rockefeller tycoon. Yeah, he went to the New Guineas to study their art. He was a really big fan. He got very close. There's 2 primary theories. Theory 1, I'm getting ahead of myself, okay? He got caught in a storm on a boat and swam multiple miles to shore, much stronger man than I ever could. There's 3 theories. He got lost at sea. He made it to shore and was cannibalized. And he made it to shore and purposely disappeared himself so that he could join the tribe. All 3 of these have their evidence. That's not what this video is about, though. This video is my video. It can be about whatever the fuck I want it to be. So Michael D. Rockefeller. I'm just going to keep calling him that because I don't actually remember which Rockefeller was. I'm pretty sure his name was Michael, and the D is just stuck in my head whenever I say Rockefeller. But our boy Mike. Mikey boy. Just like my dad. Whoa. My dad wasn't cannibalized. I'll cannibalize him if he dies, though. So Mike Rockefeller, he was stuck on a boat and it started storming, so he swam some miles to shore. He could have gotten lost at sea. That is a very realistic possibility. But the two primary theories are that he could have gotten to shore and been cannibalized. And this is backed up by the fact that when search parties went out and stuff after all of that, I forgot who it was, but somebody went and like explored the tribes, and they saw a man wearing glasses that resembled Mike's, and he was talking to a small child, and he was telling them, don't tell the white man, don't tell them that we ate the white man or something. Which, honestly, fair. Don't tell anybody anything you've done to a white man. Or a white person in general if you're not white. That always ends badly. Whenever I, like, talk about this, people are like, oh, da-da-da-da. Like, my dad was like, oh, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Shut the fuck up. I will never turn myself in. Nobody should ever turn themselves in. If you ever have an interaction with somebody who is a man or white or has some form of, like, hierarchical position above you, don't ever tell anybody in a position of power what they've done, unless that person has, like, shown consistently to be on your side. Like, I'm not turning myself in. If I killed and ate some little rich white boy, I wouldn't tell anybody. Even more so if I was part of an indigenous population that was actively being colonized. I support them. Good for you. I support the cannibals. I support all cannibals. Like Hannibal Lecter. I've gotten really off track. The second theory is that he, like, just purposely ran away and disappeared himself so that he could join the tribe, and that's backed up by a photograph of a white man who looks pretty similar to him years after his disappearance, partaking in, like, rituals with the tribe. Either way, like, R.I.P., I guess. You were a Rockefeller, so I don't feel a lot of pity for you if you died, and I fuck with cannibalism heavy, so I extra don't care if you died. But the point is, God, I got off track. Wow. Okay. But what I'm saying is we could eliminate the psychological and social aspects by just normalizing it. It's only considered bad because we already consider it bad. If we, like, went out of our ways to be like, no, cannibalism is pretty chill, people would think cannibalism is pretty fucking chill. Now for the positives. This is a clean way to dispose of bodies that does not cause any environmental issues. Greta Thunberg, hit me up. We can push for cannibalism in the 21st century. Okay. Next, we have infinite food resource. It is a steady food resource. People die every day of natural causes. If we just treat the corpses to make sure there's no, like, diseases, then we're set. My tummy is grumbling. I'm so hungry. Somebody give me your arm. Okay. Then, of course, it's fucking cool. That's sick as fuck. Alright. And number 4, who would we be to deny the fact that cannibalism is the ultimate depiction of love and obsession? I don't know if you guys have ever watched Hannibal. I don't know if you've ever read a fan fiction before. But cannibalism can be equated with love quite easily. All-consuming affection in which you want to be as close as physically possible, consuming each other so that you can never be separated by anybody other than yourselves. That is devotion beyond what religions can comprehend. Also, let's talk about it, because in religion, if cannibalism is wrong, then why do you eat the body of Christ? Why do you drink his blood? I want to drink some blood and eat somebody. Does it have to be Christ? For all you literals out there who are saying, oh, that's so cool. Imagine your family member was like, da-da-da-da-da, and you don't get to mourn them. We should not be worshiping the dead. I'm going to keep it real with you. I think that's one of the stupidest traditions in the world, and it's like such a prominent thing. And I get it. We don't know what happens when you die. You want to analyze that, and you want to be like, oh, he's at peace, or oh, he hurt me, he's suffering. But the fact of the matter is, there's probably nothing. My father grew up Catholic. I grew up vaguely Christian. My mother is pagan. I'm currently like agnostic, pagan-esque. There's something up there. I be doing my little witch rituals. I don't know what it is. All I know is that I'm important to me, my friends are important to me, my loved ones are important to me, and if there is a higher power, it will respect that. I briefly practiced Islam. I briefly practiced Christianity. I almost became Catholic. God, thank God I didn't. And I've been hyperfixated. It's my Spinterest. I've been obsessed with theology, mythology, and folklore since I learned to read. I think the first book I read in full was like a giant text, not really giant, but a textbook, like debriefing basic information about all of like the Greek and Roman gods. And I've just always been really into theology, and I can say with my full chest, I want a cannibalism religion. If you bring me to your church, and they're like, oh, it's time for communion, and then you give me like an actual chunk of flesh, fuck yeah, I'm in. I'm in. But the fact of the matter is, people look down on cannibalism, and now that's just wrong. And here's where my rant gets fucking insane. Okay? I'm gonna grab this phone. Okay? We need a close-up when I do this, okay? I believe that if we started donating bodies to science to, like, instill the idea that we could cure the corpses to, like, make the bodies edible and we normalize cannibalism, we would make such a better world. Elect me president, and I will make cannibalism legal. The thing is, cannibalism in the US, last I checked, the act of cannibalism is not a crime. It's the procuring of human meat that is. So hypothetically, if I cut my own fucking leg off, and I ate it, and I fed it to other people, there's nothing the US government could do to stop me. But the point is, cannibalism is the most ethical form of disposal for a human corpse. And it could provide, like, a pretty, like, standard, like, non-stop, indiscriminate food source for every single culture. It could also lead us to a state where we no longer feel like we have to worship the dead and honor traditions that cause harm to us. Because let's be honest, what good is paying thousands of dollars to put somebody in the ground? I don't know if it's like because I'm autistic or what, but I just don't get it. When I die, I want to be eaten. Whether that's by humans or the wildlife, I don't care. It could be even a fungus. But I want my body to be honored in my death. It's like, not to bring up Hannibal again, but it's like the Minnesota Shrike, how he honored every piece of them. I want my body to be useful in my death, and I think everybody's body should be useful in their death, not in a utilitarian way where it's like, oh, if you're not useful, you're worthless. No. I think the best way you can be honored at the end of your life is for you to provide life for others. Therefore, I think that we should be donating bodies to science, yes, but specifically culinary science, the development of science that could cure these corpses to make them edible. That way we could have a consistent food source, cut back on carbon emissions, cut back on space that could be used for, like, renewable resources and farming. We would have such a better world. Like, not to be, like, insane, but cannibalism could make the world better. And we're just not utilizing that because of stigma and fear. People use cannibalism as, like, this horror story. And I can see how people who have, like, been raised in the world that we currently have could think, like, oh, cannibalism is bad because cannibalism is bad. but there's more nuance to it than that. If we could find a way to cure these bodies of the diseases and, like, get rid of those, there's nothing wrong with it, as long as we're not killing people to eat them. And I don't think we should be killing anything to eat it unless it's, like, a necessity. I don't think we should be, like, farming cows, farming stuff. No. I think if you and your family need a little bit of meat, you should go to, like, your local farm and, like, hunt something. I think everything should be on a small scale. Hence why I think the same way as you can, like, donate your body to science or donate your body, like, for organ harvesting, I think we should be able to donate our bodies to be eaten. I want to be eaten. Do you guys want to be eaten? Okay, guys, this is the end of the video. Put down in the comments below whether or not you would cannibalize me if I asked.